Hello, both of you, Darren and Susan McDonald. It's so great to have you here. This is the first time I'm interviewing two people at the same time, but the reason for this is that you're both coaches. And I think that you have something pretty unique going. So maybe you would like to start by telling us how you became coaches. Who went first? Did Susan go first or did Darren go first?
Yeah, Susan.
I yeah, I went first. I was working in an insurance career for 39 years, and I was always into personal development and professional development. Then I started wanting more and more and more, and I started really getting deep into Bob Proctor and Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer, going more spiritual.
Mhm.
And became, I started working with the Bob Proctor organization. I did that for about a year, learning the material, studying, and Darren supported me in that because he knew that I was struggling emotionally, mentally. I was feeling more depressed and anxious. So I really wanted something to stay positive and understand more about the spiritual laws. And the more I studied, the deeper I went, the more I realized I did not want to be in the insurance industry anymore. I wanted to be a consultant. I wanted to motivate people and to help people get unstuck the way I had been feeling. So I actually quit my job in October, actually Friday the 13th of October,
Which
7 years
year was
ago.
that? 7 years ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was 2017, October 13th, 2017. I decided I was done. That was my last day at work. And 6 months later, on Friday the 13th of April 2018, I found myself sitting in Bob Proctor's living room. I
Oh,
had been to
fantastic.
a I had been to a 6-day convention with him, and absolutely, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And been no going back. Darren became one of my students a few years later, and
Hmm.
he got so enamored with the material that he decided he's been an entrepreneur and doing all kinds of
Okay,
different
wait,
work.
wait, 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 Susan. I'm going to ask Darren to speak for himself. I want to hear his point of
Okay.
view, how you blew him out of his socks with the new person that you became, huh? Hey,
Okay,
Darren.
so
I mean,
Well, I can.
Darren, you must have seen Susan just change in front of your eyes. And I think there is nothing more convincing than to have a real living example living with you, next to you, who makes this shift. And you go like, wow. Now let's hear from you, Darren. How was it for you?
In the in the beginning, um,
There was the
yeah,
word.
in the beginning was it. Um, where do I start? I went to Toronto in 2018 with Susan. I wanted to see what was going on because okay, so let's go back. Susan was in a career role where when you're dealing daily with brain injury, spinal cord injury, lawyers, doctors, families, and then you come home and because Susan is such a spiritual connection type of person, uh, it was like, how are you going to keep this going? And then she came across the program, and I'm paraphrasing, kind of giving headlines because there was a lot more studying and undertows that went on. Um, the part that was probably not normal for a lot of couples is when when Arash asked her for that amount of money over the phone, and I said, yeah,
You
yeah,
said
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 and Arash goes into the objections thing. Well, is he the one? Is it his life that is in? And it was like, calm down, like calm down. First of all, I want to know who is this guy? Because I come from a sales background because I was a sales manager. And it's like, who's hustling my wife on the phone? And, and anyway, uh, it it worked out. It is just I knew she needed this. And at that point, value equals form and function, not price. And the value I
Right.
put on this was Susan needs this.
Mm-hmm.
And so fast forward to uh, the the session that I went to in 2018, I think it was. And Sabine, this was life shifting, let me tell you. I go in there with a predisposition of being sold, right? And I'm listening to Bob and I'm listening to Doug Dane talking there, and I'm looking at Susan and okay, you signed up for this. And I had a personal perspective on what's going on here.
For sure.
But as it and I could be objective, right? I'm outside in, right? And
Right.
so I'm watching everything go on, and I don't know if I remember telling you this story, but where I knew something was happening was when we're about day 4 out of 5 days. And I go into the tuck shop I went to the ATM to get some money.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm standing in there and we're taking a break in between sessions, the whole room started to move and shift. Like it shifted about 60, 70 degrees, then came back, and then it did it again.
Uh-huh.
And I'm looking around and I'm kind of embarrassed because I'm thinking, you idiot, what are you gonna do? Pass out? What's going on here? And I'm looking around, and our friend over by the till, she's calm and cool, but this whole thing by the ATM, I'm going like this. That was the purest energy, um, spiritual intervention I could possibly feel when through this whole conference. I still had I'll call them doubts. We got
Sure.
home.
Sure.
We got home, and of course I supported her. I joined the program, and then the evolution of me working as a business consultant on the side. Um, it was a progression, like for anybody, but working together was was really different because I started to like any client, I would start to pull, my interpretation, my perspective of what something meant.
Mm-hmm.
And then Susan would just slide in and say, here's the overall objective of what we want to achieve
Mm-hmm.
for you, not
Mm-hmm.
for her or for the program, but for you.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kept bumping along. And then it was out on the cruise, went along on the cruise, and it hit me that I gotta do this. This is a piece. And it wasn't some big blinding light thing that hits you. It was
No, no,
just,
but when it hits you, and you absolutely know it for sure, no? Yeah.
you do. And then our working relationship, like anything, so we have our personal relationship and then we have a working relationship.
Right. Now,
And
this is where it gets interesting for me.
Susan has more
So do
patience
you
than me.
mentor? Yeah, let me ask you, do you mentor the same clients,
I
or do
led I
you
led
have
my own
yours
program.
and she has
Yep.
hers? How do you
I
do it?
One of the programs I led by myself with some clients
Mm-hmm.
um, that I brought on, and then Susan was a participant and kind of played the support role.
Mm.
But with the way we do it
How cool
now
is that?
is the way we do it now is during our class, Susan carries the foundational piece, and
Mm.
then I play color. I support it with my position, and kind of connect the dots. And so
And
we
your
just kind of we've
knowledge,
learned how
right?
to play back and forth.
Okay, so here's how I see it. I mean, you guys have a huge advantage because you're not just working from one person's perception, right? So you have Susan's perception of the client and of the journey that this person is on. And then you have the additional bonus perception of Darren. And I feel like, you've literally got like you've got extra support. Um, and I think you're both quite different from each other. So that makes the support even more interesting and more rich because you're coming from different directions, but both those directions, it's like 1 + 1. So it's like, it's amazing, right?